Hey everybody, all you 60s hippies or all you wannabe 60s hippies. This is today's painting. We're gonna do this today. So, throw on your bell bottoms, grab your paintbrushes, and let's go. Right off the bat, I'm gonna start doing a sky. It's gonna be dark and light blue and white. You can double load your brush, meaning get a little dark blue on one side of the brush and a little light blue or white on the other side of the brush, and just brush it across there and then blend it in. It'll look like an actual sky with little misty clouds there. If you're not sure about that, just add a little bit more. Add a little bit more white and just keep brushing it through and blending it in. So I took a little bit of titanium white and black, just a tiny little black. Don't use too much black, it will overpower everything. We're going to start just using a flat brush, which is a square brush, not a round brush. We're just going to start making mountains. I'm going to make a mountain range here, and you can literally go random here because mountains are pretty random, and everything will look really cool when you're done, no matter what you've done. And as you feel, you add more titanium white and a little bit of black, and just keep going on like that. Just experiment with this. I promise you it will all look cool in the end, no matter what you do. My parents live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I was thinking of the North Shore Mountains, the mountains that are in North Vancouver, when I was doing this. So that's my thing. If you have another vision in your head, like the Swedish Alps, the Swiss Alps, or the Italian Alps, or the Rocky Mountains, that's absolutely great. You can do the same effect with all those mountain ranges as you can with this, what I've done here. And then add more white to accent where maybe snow would be. I hate snow. but it looks lovely in the mountains. So for our Volkswagen van, I did draw the Volkswagen van out on a piece of paper, kind of sketched it out roughly best I could. And I do have a piece of carbon paper, and I'm just gonna trace it onto my canvas. You don't have to do this. You can actually sketch it out on your canvas if you want, or you can just roughly paint it in if you're more skilled than me, which I'm sure many of you are. So here I just put the carbon paper and my sketch on, and then I will just go over it with a pen or pencil, whatever, it doesn't matter, and get this transferred onto my canvas. This is kind of a cheating method, but I'm not that much of an artist. I'm not a good artist. So I'm doing the best I can here. So now that I've got the Volkswagen van sketched out onto the canvas, I'm just gonna start painting the foreground. I'm just gonna rough it in with a little bit of gray and white and start sort of making the beginnings of a gravel road ahead of the van. You can add whatever color, burnt umber, browns, blues, yellows, anything you want. This is just, anything will look good. I'm just starting it off with a little bit of gray. Adding a bit of black for some shadow. On the sides of the van, I'm just gonna add some green here and start roughing in some bushes and small trees in the distance beside it, because this van is supposed to be out in the wilderness up amongst the mountains on a gravel road. And we can touch them up and fix them later. I'm just getting the bushes established. I wasn't sure how to do the grass and such beside the van, and I didn't really quite have the right greens, and I'm new to mixing colors, so here I am trying to figure out the right green for the grass along the side of the road. Grass and, bushes, etc. But that's all right. As long as you get the color established, then we'll get in there later on and touch that up and make it look more like something. Here I'm trying to establish some kind of distance between the mountains and in the background and the bushes in the foreground. So I thought I'd fill it in with gray. I did later on change my mind about that color, and I've discovered that you can put in any color in there and it'll look good. It'll look cool. Yellow, pink, blue, whatever. But just to get things rolling, this is what I did. I put in the gray, and that will change later on. As I said, I'm learning as I go. If you guys have suggestions for me, that would be great. Here I'm taking some plain white and I am filling in the roof of the Westphalia, or the Sambia. Any of you Volkswagen fans out there can set me in my place and tell me what kind of van it is. I am going to add a teeny tiny bit of blue to the white to sort of give it the appearance of really bright white. So just the hint of blue is going to make it appear white. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this. So I'm doing the front of the van, the V in Volkswagen. Now I'm gonna start outlining the rooftop, basically the outline of the whole van in black. And I will do the headlights and the marker lights and the windows. Also, we have good definition of it. Okay, here I apologize. I forgot to put the camera on record again. I started painting trees. I painted 3 trees, the 2 on the left and the one that I'm touching up on the right. But that's all right. It's just a streak of brown up the top, and then I use a filbert, which is the rounded brush, with greens, and I just went over it and over it and over it again. I found, because of the paint being so transparent, I had to go over it multiple times. You might find that with dollar store paints. If you have more higher quality professional paints, you may not have to do this. But also, if you layer the trees, it will actually look better. As you'll see here, I've got multiple layers. I added different colors. I added a little bit of white to the green to make lighter green. I added a little teeny tiny bit of black to the green to make it darker for the darker shades of the tree. And it will actually look pretty good. Here I'm just adding different colors like light brown and, burnt umber and burnt sienna to give some texture to the trunk of the tree and maybe add a little bit of depth to it. So I need to detail the grasses, etc. along the side of the van. So I'm going to use several different shades of green and a liner brush or a very thin brush. And I'm going to make dark strips of grass and light strips of grass. And I'm going to do it in layers and go over it probably a dozen times here. And it doesn't matter where you put the little blades of grass, because everything in nature is pretty random anyways. In the foreground of the grass, I'm actually just adding some darker green just to give it a little bit of texture, because it'll give it some depth. So now I'm going to start working on the side view mirrors of the van and getting them sort of blocked in with outlined with the black paint so we know where they are. And then eventually we need to white out the windows, because in there we got to paint the seats that are on the inside, and then the reflection of the glass, the front windshield glass. But we also want to see the back window, the window that's at the back of the van, through the front windows. So we'll get that done here. So now that I've got the seats sort of sketched in, we need to color in the shading of the inside of the van and the two side windows that you'll sort of see through the windshield, which would be that little dark spot there that I'm doing right now. And we don't want it completely darken all the way up, or pardon me, all the way down, because you'll have the two front seats there, and then between the two front seats, you'll see what is the back window of the van. So you put that shading in. We can't forget about the tires, so I'm just outlining where the tires are going to go, and then I will paint them in black, and then I will put just little faint stripes of white, but it will actually be watered down white, so when it dries it's really faint, and it will look like basically the reflection of light on the black rubber of the tires. Going to start working on the front bumper here. Bumper would be chrome, so kind of to simulate acrylic chrome. Again, I just added a little bit of blue to the titanium white, very little, and then I'm just going over the pieces of the bumper. And I will add a little bit more blue to sort of simulate where there might be dirt or rust on the bumper. Rust running down, etc. So I just added a bit more blue for that. Just going to enhance the marker lights and the headlights of the vehicle with a bit more titanium white, make them more brilliant, and outline them both a little bit of black. This part's just touching up parts of the body, cleaning up the edges, enhancing the white and the black edges. for the foreground of the grass, I'm just sort of experimenting with color. You want some dark in there, and then add some light blades of grass or light bushes, whatever. So I'm just sort of experimenting here. I really actually don't know what I'm doing. So again, if any of you have any ideas of how to do this better or how to instruct me, you can give me some pointers. I am open to pointers. I actually add a little bit more blue to the white part of the van, not to make it more white-ish, but to add more depth, color, light reflection onto the front part of the van. And so I'll just do that for that whole V section of the van. So here I'm also adding a little bit of, just a hint of blue to the front seats that you can see through the windshield, just so they sort of stand out from the shading of the rest of the interior of the vehicle. So we need to add some reflection on the front windshield. So I'm just using watered down titanium white, not solid titanium white, but watered down, and just do little stripes across those windows, and it goes right over the seats. So it doesn't matter because it's supposed to be the reflection of light on the windshield on both sides. So we need to add some shadows or shading underneath the van between the front tires. So this is where I'm just going to add some really super watered down black, and I will add the shading there. Now that the black paint for the tires is dry, I'm just going to use some watered down white and really lightly paint some white lines down the fronts of the tires. Make it look like treads, and it'll be the light reflecting off the treads of the rubber tires. Here I really wasn't really sure about the trees. I'm still new at the trees, so I thought I'd add a bit of yellow. Just add some depth or some color, maybe dead branches. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I was doing. I was just experimenting with color. You can do the same thing. Even add a little bit of blue. I mean, there's blue spruce trees, right? Do whatever you feel. Experiment. Try different things. Nothing is a bad thing. Here's where I changed my mind on the background color directly behind those trees. So I used a very watered down yellow. And I'm actually kind of glad I did, because in the end it looked much better. It gave a contrast between the background of the mountains and the foreground of the greenery, and gave something in the middle. So it actually worked out really good. And here's where I decided to extend that yellow color, the pale yellow color, from the midground into the foreground and into the gravel, the dirt gravel, and just add some color to the picture. And again, surprisingly enough, it actually worked out pretty good. And again, I'm just adding a bit more color, a little bit of green with a bit of black to add more depth to those trees. Again, in the end, I was kind of impressed with myself. So for all you hippies that are around in the 60s, or all the rest of you who wish you were around in the 60s, this one's for you. Volkswagen bus, camping in the mountains, like in British Columbia. Mom and Dad, this one's for you. My mom and dad are hippies. I was born in the 60s, but I wasn't a hippie. Anyways, I hope you followed along. Hope you followed along. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel. And if you know anybody else that likes to paint or is a hippie, this one's for you.